Hello, and welcome to Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, a podcast where Dr. O from All Creatures Every Spine interviews doctors and animal owners that utilize animal chiropractic to get their unique perspectives. Yes, it's really a thing. Dr. O utilizes his 30 years of experience as both an animal chiropractor and veterinarian, and to dig deep into the discussion of complex issues affecting the lives of your animal friends and companions. Join us for this educational episode. Thanks for joining us for this portion of the episode as Dr. O begins to answer the question, what is animal chiropractic? He will look at how the chiropractic adjustment is a valuable and viable treatment for what ails your animals.
Hello everyone, and welcome to barfworld.com. If you're seeing this video, it typically means you're interested in trying our 90-day challenge. If your pet is suffering from allergies, kidney issues, obesity, diabetes, or even cancer, our food can help with that. So if you're ready to see your pet's health dramatically improve in just 90 days, call us and schedule your consultation today. Hope to talk to you guys soon.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. Let's talk about what is animal chiropractic. So animal chiropractic just removes interferences from the nervous system. That's all it does. An animal chiropractor is going to go in, he's going to palpate your animal's spine, whether it's a dog, a horse, a cat, whatever it is, and find places where the spine doesn't work correctly. He's going to use his hands, his or her hands. He's going to remove those interferences and allow the nervous system to work at optimal levels. Now, when I went to vet school, neurology, it was scary. Neurological animals, we had nothing to do with it. We could just refer it to a neurologist, put them on heavy drugs like gabapentin or prednisone, and that was about it. So, as a veterinarian, traditional veterinarian, neurology scared me. Neurological patients scared me. And now, man, I get excited. Number one, every animal has a neurological problem of some sort. Every condition that we see has a neurological factor in it. Whether your dog's vomiting, whether he's having allergy problems, whether he's lame, whether he's having something like seizures. We know that the chiropractic adjustment, it may not cure him, but it's sure going to make him better and help him to adapt to his environment in a more acceptable and appropriate manner. Stories, we hear stories all the time about animals that are well adjusted and they have trauma or something that happens and they do great. And people are like, how could that ever happen? How could he be doing that well? Or how could she be doing that well? We see adjusted dogs that get hit by cars and they seem to have no problems. They get adjusted a couple times and they're good to go. Non-adjusted animals would have broken bones, all kinds of stuff. That's what animal chiropractic is about. It's about helping your animal being able to adapt to his environment in a way that allows him to express optimal health and living to the fullest extent. Remember, the body heals one way and only one way, above, down, inside out. Keep your atlas adjusted and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
Make sure to visit our website, allcreatureseveryspine.com. where you could subscribe to the show and learn more about getting your animals adjusted. If you are in the Meridian, Texas area, drop in on a Tuesday afternoon to get your animals adjusted. If that isn't possible, schedule a consultation on your animal's health with Dr. O. You can also purchase a copy of Dr. O's book. Yes, it's really a thing.
Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. For me, my hero is Frank, my best friend. But even the greatest heroes need help sometimes. Frank and I were at the park the other day when he started limping and favoring his left leg. I didn't see what happened, but I could tell something was wrong. So we went to see Frank's favorite vet, Yvette. Yvette the vet. Yep, that's really her name. After running some tests, she determined that Frank had torn his ACL. His best option was surgery. But unfortunately for me, surgery wasn't an option. So what could I possibly do to be a hero to my hurting hero? That was when Yvette told us about hero braces. She took a quick cast of his leg and said this mold would be used to create a biomechanically designed stifle brace, custom-made just for Frank, allowing his body's natural healing processes to take over and stabilize the knee. About 2 weeks later, she fitted the brace and gave us the green light to walk, hike, and snuggle, and do all the activities that Frank and I were used to doing. It was that simple. Hero braces are lightweight, don't stretch or tear, and are durably designed to last the life of your dog. So Frank can get back to being Frank. Like I said, heroes come in all shapes and sizes. And lucky for us, so do hero braces.
Your active dog needs more than water to rehydrate. Replenish Dog Water Supplement is an all-natural powdered water flavoring, prevents dehydration and provides vitamins for your dog. Created by a veterinarian and rooted in science. Give your dog the care they deserve with Replenish.
Join us as Dr. O interviews a certified chiropractor, veterinarian, or an animal owner. These enthusiastic people explain how they utilize animal chiropractic to alter the lives of the animals in their communities.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. I'm your host, Dr. O, and today on Who is Animal Chiropractic, we're going to talk to Dr. Jon Zeagler. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Doc.
Currently practice in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is northwest Louisiana. I've been a chiropractor for 22 years. Have been doing animal chiropractic for 12 years, and love what I do.
Good. So, as a animal chiropractor, in a state that doesn't say, hey, anybody can do animal chiropractic, you have to be, have a referral, or you have to do this, or, do you find that difficult, or is it still easy to adjust animals?
That's a little more difficult, but overall, I think that I have a good relationship with all the veterinarians in the area, and they've been pretty supportive of what I do because they don't do it themselves, and they're busy in their own practices, and so, but it's taking time to build those relationships. That didn't happen overnight, and you kind of got to go out and prove yourself. And I've been able to do that. And now I receive referrals from veterinarians on both canine and equine. And but it took time to build that relationship.
Yeah, I know a lot of everybody's always wondering about how to get it. How do I get that? Well, you just you got to knock on some doors and talk to some people, right?
Right.
Because you come from a special, little special background, more than the average animal chiropractor. You were actually on the chiropractic board for a while, right?
I was on the board of examiners for chiropractic in Louisiana for 12 years. Prior to that, I was on the state association board for about 2 years. And myself and Dr. Giggleman and Dr. Bob went to the veterinary board to talk to them about changing the laws in Louisiana. They were receptive to it, and then all of a sudden, the Supreme Court ruled against the North Carolina Dental Board in a lawsuit, and that kind of changed everything to where we were kind of tracking along pretty good with that. And once that ruling came down, every board in the United States, state boards, really just kind of put the brakes on everything and said, let's kind of figure out what's going on here. And to the point where even in Louisiana, now the governor appointed a board over the boards where each board has to have a layperson that's not a professional on that board. So it kind of slowed it down, but it's kind of been since that point in time, it's kind of been, whereas before there might be a little bit of a rub between the professions, it's kind of been, you do your thing, we're going to do our thing, and let's let each other coexist. And it's been okay.
Good. That's what we like to hear. So let's talk a little bit about what has animal chiropractic allowed you and your practice to do?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a specialty, and even my human patients that I adjust, because I adjust human patients, almost 50 hours a week, and then I adjust animals either in the evening or on the weekends. But even with my human patients, it's kind of funny because they'll find out that I do animal chiropractic because I'll have my certifications on the wall in my practice, and they've never heard of it, or they can't understand why would a horse or a dog need adjusting. And then once I start going into very common conditions that they see as related to humans, they kind of get the big picture of it. And so I've received a lot of referrals especially for canine from my patients, and a lot of them have brought their own dogs in. So it's done very well for it.
Good. So what about your biggest wins? What are some of your big wins in animal chiropractic?
Ooh, well, I think some of the more fun things I've done is I've adjusted bucking bulls. It was kind of neat on a Tuesday night to adjust some PBR bucking bulls, and then watch Sunday night them buck in Brockmore, Oklahoma, and that was pretty cool. I've had dogs that, of course, were told they need to put them down and cannot walk. They're paralyzed in the hind end, and I start adjusting them, and they start walking really after one adjustment, things that you don't see on human patients. I mean, I tell a lot of my human patients, adjusting animals is kind of like adjusting infants. That they eat better, they have a better diet, they have a better lifestyle, they move more, and they're not walking around smoking a cigarette, drinking a Budweiser, and sitting around watching 4 hours of TV every night. So they heal with chiropractic better than my human patients. So I've had a lot of wins over the years, with animals that I thought would need to be put down, and did great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes the ones that look the worst surprise you, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, they do. Especially the small dogs, see lots of smaller dogs from jumping off of furniture, and of course they're having C1 subluxations and L5, L6, sacral, and so when you start adjusting those, they do really well.
Yep. Yeah, they do. It's amazing. When you adjust the neck, the rest just kind of follows along.
Yes.
It's kind of, I think the philosophy is important, for humans and animals. But I think, if you as a chiropractor get the philosophy, and know why you're adjusting, I think you get better results from all your patients.
Absolutely. I think also that having a good, strong philosophy allows you to have more confidence in the skills and the trade that you're developing, and it also allows you to communicate better with the patients, owners, and also the veterinarians. And you cannot come from a strong place if you don't have a strong philosophy yourself.
Right.
It's crucial.
Yeah. I know last weekend you got some influx of philosophy.
Yes, met one of our mutual friends, and went to Dallas to the Remarkable Practice seminar, and high energy. These guys are amazing, and all the doctors in the room and their staffs were just amazing. And Dr. Pete, I know he comes to your boot camp, and he's phenomenal. He's a strong Christian man with a strong philosophy, and at his peak was adjusting 1,000 people a week, which is crazy to even think about it. But
Right.
he just delivered the adjustments and let the body do the rest.
Yeah. I do my record is 62 dogs in one day.
Wow.
And I did that in about 4 hours, actually. And but and I look at it, and so wow, I was boogieing, and so 62 times 5, that'd only be 300. And I'm like, man, and I did 62. And so you talk to some of these guys that are doing 1,000, and man, they got to be in good shape, and they got to be on top of their game.
If you're not in good shape, your body will break down from that, because every adjustment you receive a force back into your body. And my mentor, the gentleman who even talked me into going to chiropractic school, was seeing 100 a day and was not keeping his body strong, and his body broke down. It ended his career early. So you definitely have to be in good shape. And people like Dr. Pete, they've done the Body by God program and things like that. And these guys are all about, your body's a temple, and you take care of it. You eat right, you exercise, and you keep good mental faculties about yourself, and then you just get real focused and be where your feet are, and you get after it.
Yeah, good. I think that's right. I know we have to do a lot of, especially Dr. Amy, because us guys, we're just like, we can power through anything, right?
Yeah.
But she's more really, really adamant about, body biomechanics.
Yes.
When we do school, and in fact, she gave a lecture last year at the AVCA about, body mechanics, because you talk to some of these older animal chiropractors, and elbows and shoulders and all kinds of things are broke down.
That's right.
We talked to one lady, and her guarded thumb was like this instead of this.
Mm-hmm.
And after 6 months, she was having had to have both thumbs injected.
Right.
And so I said, that's can't be right. So all we did was make some minor, there's not a lot of difference between that and that.
Yeah, until you're putting a force in the body.
Yeah, but we made a little bit of a minor adjustment on her adjusting technique, and now she can adjust again.
Right. I've even experienced it, through the years. If my technique gets a little bit off, or angles of my wrist or anything like that, I get tendonitis in the wrist, and I have to go back and get back to the basics, and recorrect my adjusting positions and everything. So it's huge.
It is. Make sure you're locking out.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna have shoulder issues with these horses and their pelvis and things such as that. So it's very important.
So, what's one thing you wish all your animal owners knew about animal chiropractic?
Oh wow. That's a good question. And it's up to me, but I think I wish they knew more of the philosophy of chiropractic and why their animals need to be adjusted. They're more of, I'm a pain management kind of deal a lot of times. And now some of your performance horses, they understand performance, but a lot of times, and they don't understand necessarily the effects of degenerative disc and spondylos in the body and things such as that, how that can have a big effect on a quadruped. You know, it has a big effect on biped people, but definitely on a quadruped. And so I think I wish they knew a little bit more about that.
Yeah. And then one of the problems that I get into is kind of that same line is that, you know, well, you unpinched his nerve, right?
Yeah. Right.
So we got to go way back and talk about what actually was causing the problem, and
right.
So, you know, and no matter where that came from, and you know, and veterinarians, we hear all the time, you know, well, somebody diagnosed this or somebody diagnosed that. Usually it's a layperson.
Right.
That
trainer.
Yeah. Oh, and look at your dog's got hip dysplasia, or your horse has a pinched nerve, or oh, I had a horse that did that once. It was kissing spines, and so now, you know.
Right.
And
I always ask, do you have an X-ray to confirm that with? And if so, can I see it?
Yeah. And then we adjust it anyway, right?
Right. We're going to adjust it.
So yeah, we adjusted anyway. So you spent some time. In the beginning, we didn't introduce you as a ex-president of the American Veterinary Chiropractic Association.
Yes. Past president. Currently.
Past president, yes. And so, as the past president, we do have the audience includes some certified animal chiropractors. Mm-hmm. So, what would you like to? How about do you need some words of wisdom and why they should get involved in boards and stuff?
Well, I think that you need to give back to your profession, and you know, and yes, it can be a little time consuming at times, but overall, I get more from it than I give by any stretch of the imagination, and I think it's easy to complain about this or that until you get in that board position and you see what's kind of working, from either a financial or a membership or getting presenters to these programs. And with us being the top organization in animal chiropractic in the world, I think it's very important to support the AVCA. It's together we're stronger. And yes, we're not a big lobbying effort or anything like that, but we are there to help in any way we can within the scope of what our organization is when you're facing issues in your state. Dr. Welker and several others are very good at handling those issues. Dr. Welker is up in Montana, and he's a prior president of the AVCA, and he's on the committee to help people with scopes of practice and boards and everything like that. So it's real easy because it's such still a young profession. It's real easy to kind of get a misunderstanding with if you're a chiropractor with a veterinarian or with the board, the vet board or the chiropractic board. And so anytime that you can get some guidance and some help on that, the AVCA is here to try and help you with that in any way, shape, or form we can. And then our annual membership meeting, I mean, it's quality presenters and it's a lot of fun. It's good to get together with like-minded people because I think a lot of times what you talk about outside of the seminar is just as important as what you talk about in the seminar. So if last seminar I was talking to one of my former classmates from Texas, and she had just chickens, and I've never adjusted a chicken, but I was like, how do you do that? And she was going through how, it increases their production for laying eggs and things such as that. And so, it's great to have that kind of information. I don't know that I'll ever adjust any poultry, but if I do, then I have somebody I can contact and say, hey, how do you do this? Or can you help me with what I'm seeing here? So it's good to network and everything. And for referrals. I mean, I receive referrals from other docs and I refer to other docs and all the time. I mean, I've had several patients that just moved or clients that moved to South Carolina with their horses. So I went on the AVCA website, found some certified animal chiropractors, and both veterinarian and chiropractic, and presented that information to them and contacted those people and said, hopefully they'll be calling you, but I've given them your name, and so it's good.
Yeah. So just so you know, John, we do have a food animal weekend.
Yeah.
Where we do chickens, ducks, turkeys, pigs, sheep and goats, cattle, and we include safety for bucking bulls. How to adjust low cervicals in bucking bulls safely.
Yeah.
Because,
you gotta watch out.
You're probably not going to use your hand down in there. So
no, not if you want it to function later.
Right.
But I have adjusted sheep, goat, swine, show cattle, all that's. It's a lot of fun to adjust different species. It's but yet still a lot of it's the same. I mean, your lines of drive are a little bit different. Your number of vertebrae are a little bit different, but overall it's the same still. It's the same principles to be used to correct the subluxation.
Right. You bet. Just change your line of correction a little bit and good to go. My biggest thing is know the vertebral formula. So that will help you.
Right.
And that's, even Google usually gets that right.
Yeah.
So you can Google that one, but so that's a lot of fun. And then we find that, anytime you go to a seminar, you get, huge stuff, like you said, and you can get one or two things that you take home and use. It's important.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to bring experts from other professions to animal chiropractic.
Yeah.
One of the things we're trying to do, like you mentioned, Dr. P comes to base camp.
Yeah, and I think that I know that you've been through several of the Federation of Chiropractic Examining Boards and things such as that, and spoke about animal chiropractic, and I think that's wonderful because when we're doing the testing for the AVCA, we use a lot of the same standards. I've given because I was on a state board, I helped give the national board part 4 test. I've helped write parts 2, 3, and 4, especially 4 multiple times. And I can tell you that having been in that experience with the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners and with the AVCA, the written and the practical is very similar to what you will see with the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, which is very highly critiqued and has certain standards and that you cannot falter on.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, we make sure that everybody, when they come through our program, we recommend that they get AVCA certified.
Yeah.
And do it soon because you're not going to remember all the stuff for the AVCA exam.
That's right. That's just written part.
Yeah. I would not want to have to take that test again, but we did it's just so people know, for doctors that aren't certified, that want to get certified, they went somewhere else, but it's been a while, or they need to recertify for whatever reason. We just put up about a 49-hour program that so the online part, it's all part of our normal program, but we picked some of the main courses that we thought were important for passing the AVCA exam based on some feedback from recent people that have taken it, so that it's a good review course.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. And then
we really have a pretty high success rate on passing that exam. If you look at the percentage of people who take the exam and pass, it's probably around 93 to 96%, which means that the schools such as yourself are doing a good job of educating these practitioners. And so we see for the most part, we see a pretty high quality candidate come through.
Yeah. Now we try to, make sure that everybody knows what they're doing when they leave here. Because one of the things about when they come through here, our students all adjust client animals.
Right.
And so, and they do that the first day they're here. And so I got to make sure that, otherwise I got to see them on Tuesday for free.
Right. Correct what happened.
Yeah. And, I don't think we've had to do that. One time when I was teaching at Parker, we had a dog come in, and actually the dog never got adjusted. It just got handled, palpated, and somebody said, "Oh man, no, we can't do anything with this dog." And the dog got so sore just from that, it came into my clinic and we x-rayed it. And I looked at the dog and said, that was before I have as much philosophy. I didn't have the philosophy I do now. And in fact, this is one of the dogs that helped me get some philosophy. I looked at the x-ray and was like, no way. Oh, it just needs an adjustment. And I was like, no, man. And look at these x-rays. I said, the only way that I would ever agree to adjust this dog is that you walk in here, you tell them they're here, you never put the dog down, you hold the dog, I'll adjust his atlas, you pay your $50 and you go home. And all I'm ever gonna do is the atlas, and you're never gonna put the dog down in my clinic. She said, okay. And 6 months later, she said, I think you really want me to put the dog down in your clinic. And I'm like, dog was running all over the place. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I've seen the x-rays, it had a lumbar sacral junction that instead of looking like this, looked like this. It was like, it had 3 or 4 places in his spine that looked like they were totally fused.
Right.
Dog lived for another 8 years.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times you forget that, the purpose of your adjustment is to increase optimal health in that animal, but the nervous system is an electric system. And just because you have some bones that are out of alignment, yes, adjusting the spine puts a afferent input into the brain and into through the spinal cord into the cerebellum and into the cortex. But we're there to put that input in and let the brain and the nervous system use that input to correct itself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I think that we feel that we have to take this bone and move it into some certain position. If that was true, a lot of your light force techniques would not work at all. Anytime you're putting an input into the nervous system, the body can take that input and use it efficiently to change neurological output or your efferent output and correct overtight muscles and spinal misalignments and things such as that. And of course, I went to Logan, and that's a lot of tonal technique with Logan Basic, and I've seen scoliosis and just miraculous changes just doing Logan Basic, which is a very light force tonal technique on the sacrotuberous ligament. So I think that a lot of times we forget that as chiropractors, the power of the nervous system and of the brain to affect change. And of course, the closer you get to the brain, the more input you have on the brain. That's why your upper cervical adjustments are extremely effective. And I've had patients who are neurologically so compromised, I could not adjust that without exceeding the metabolic rate of their nervous system and causing them to have a lot of anguish. So, but taking what you learn in neurology, whether it be a veterinarian or a chiropractor through school, and then applying that into these animals is a big advantage that you have over your traditional veterinarian or even a chiropractor who's just bone out of place, bone on nerve type stuff.
You bet. It's huge. And veterinarians and even chiropractors, but one of the things that I thought about when you were doing this is that, you never know what you say or do today, how many people that will affect. And yeah, and we had a dog in here the other day. This lady brought in her dog, and it was a Boston Terrier, and it's having some problems in the back end, and it started to have some fecal incontinence and some stuff like that, and that's why they started. And so the dog's better, but the fecal incontinence isn't great yet. And, why not? How long? And I said, well, first off, this breed all has some part of spina bifida. We've selected for the corkscrew tail. It's a form of spina bifida. Mm-hmm. And so we know, and I said, we've got some of these guys that have no sacrum, but they still do good. We start adjusting them and they do great. And the lady looked at me. She said, what do you know about spina bifida? And I said, well, and so she goes, well, I have a 7-year-old granddaughter that she can't feel her legs, but she walks. I said, well, that's because she's using central pattern generators of the spine. And she goes, what? Nobody's ever talked about that to us. And so she was like, okay, well, we're going to see the chiropractor. And it was like, I'm just trying to get the dog to do better, and for them to understand why the dog isn't one adjustment, one and done. And come to find out, I'm talking about her granddaughter.
Wow, that's great.
So,
I had a dog that came in. I've adjusted this dog 4 times now, and a 12-year-old little terrier that has cancer in the brain and was having imbalances and seizure activity. The lady is a patient of mine, and she sent me a video and said, can you help this dog? I said, I don't know. I'll adjust it and see what I can do. After one adjustment, I think the dog had 2 seizures. After that, they were very mild, and the dog could walk immediately after the adjustment without falling over. Within 2 adjustments, no seizure activity. Now, have I cured cancer? No. But have I changed the input of that brain to where this dog is not having an explosion of neurological input into the brain to where this dog can function, is not having any seizures, it's able to walk straight and move and everything, and the dog's doing unbelievably well. And that's the power of chiropractic, and it's amazing. And sometimes I get a little complacent about it because I do it all day, and then you have something like that happen to you, and it kind of sets you back to where you're like, wow, this is very powerful. And I kind of pick around and tell people all the time, I mean, I don't have to have a prescription pad. I got my treatment right here in these hands, and they go with me everywhere I go. So at any point in time, I'm available to treat. So,
Dr. Mo, Dr. Mo, right? Dr. Mo knows. Yeah. Well, Dr. Mo, she's always talking about how powerful the adjustment is, because when you adjust somebody, you change brain, and you change the white noise in the brain. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds cool. And then I got to thinking about, well, what's white noise in the brain? We got this white noise generator over here that helps us sleep and that kind of thing, So, well, why if there's that going on in the brain, we'll just get rid of it. Why change it? And then I realized that what white noise in the brain is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's everything in the background.
Right.
So it's, of the 3 trillion bits of information that go into your brain every second, it's all but 50 of it. It's getting your cells nutrition. It's, getting the 14th cell from the end of my pinky finger, making sure it's got some glucose.
Right.
Getting my thumb some water so it gets hydrated. Get some oxygen to my big toe.
Yeah, it's innate. And anytime you look at the central integrated state of a neuron, it has input coming in from all around to give it a central integrated state. And a lot of that you do not consciously perceive, but it happens with this autonomic nervous system. It's innate, and it happens without you thinking about it. And it can get dysregulated. There's dysautonomia, and chiropractic does great for that kind of thing, where you can increase perfusion into the extremities, and all kinds of things. So yeah, that's right. The body just runs on its own with, in that thalamic subconscious level with the limbic system and everything like that. And you don't consciously think about it until it hits the frontal lobe or the parietal lobe, and you sense it. So it's amazing.
Which is good for guys like me. I mean, I can't remember where I put my glasses, so oh my God, when's the last time I told my heart to beat? Did I?
Right. Right. We would be in trouble if we had to think about all that.
Yeah, no kidding. So anyway, well, I appreciate your time. Any parting words of wisdom?
Just, continue to improve your skill and your craft, and stay strong philosophically. It's good to go get a boost like I did 2 weekends ago in Dallas. Sometimes you can kind of get drugged down with the day-to-day of the practice, and it's really good to get yourself back strong philosophically and to learn new things and to get in a different environment. And so you can't be out there making a difference if you're burned out and you're exhausted and overwhelmed. So take care of yourself so that you can take care of your patients, and they'll thank you for it.
Right.
And get involved in the ABCA.
All right. So for everybody out there listening, remember, the body heals one way only: above, down, inside out. Keep your atlas adjusted. Thanks, Jon.
Thank you. Have a great week.
If you are or know a veterinarian or chiropractor, or a student of either of these professions, visit our website, Animal Chiropractic Education Source, to see how to become certified in animal chiropractic. Start improving the lives of the animals around you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the ACES channels so that you never miss an exciting episode.